So Public Service Commission, I always was
Yep.
saying Public Service Commissioner, it's Public Service Commission. I have so many questions about that.
Okay.
I'm not as knowledgeable about local politics, or politics in general, as I probably should be. I hate to admit that. But let's start with, is this a partisan race? Because I found out with the last interview that the position, the gentleman I had on, it was not even a partisan race. So is Public Service
Yes,
Commission
I
partisan?
believe so, yes.
Okay, got it. And then there are multiple districts. You
Yes.
said you're with District 2. You're
I'm
running for
District
District 2.
There's 5 districts. There's 5 commissioners that's with the Public Service Commission.
Okay. And what's District 2's jurisdiction then?
For the most part, it's 120th to Harrison, and then all the way east to the river. So
And what's
it's
the
about
north- what's the north boundary then?
It's right up by the 680, Interstate 680.
It's
up on the
such
north
a
side.
large
It's the
area.
about 2/3 of the Douglas County.
Wow.
So it's geographically it's the smallest district,
Oh,
but
that's true.
you look at it from other aspects, it's
Mhm.
one of the biggest. So
Well, unfortunately, you
it's
can't be-
massive.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yes.
In terms of number of people, bodies, it's
Yeah.
definitely the most.
Yes.
But unfortunately, you can't reach out to those bodies and knock on doors right now.
Nope.
So how has give me some insight into what your campaign looks like. I've never run for office. I don't know how much money that entails, anything like that. I just don't even know if you can share that. But how has it been changed and influenced by the most recent state of events?
Originally, of course, like everybody else, we were planning on door knocking. That was going to be, it's one of my favorite forms of campaigning. I'd rather door knock. You can't really figure out what the issues are for people if you're not out talking to the people.
Sure.
So rather than calling, I'm more of a face-to-face person. Most of my career, I've spent it being able to learn how to read people. So it's easier for me to be able to talk to somebody whenever I'm able to look at them.
Right.
But because we're not able to do that anymore, we had to go more digital. So starting tonight, actually, on Wednesdays, we're going to be doing a Facebook Live event at 6 o'clock. It's going to be only about 10-15 minutes, unless, of course, there's a lot of people that come on and ask questions. It's kind of like a virtual town hall, if that's what you want to kind of compare it to. So people are able throughout the week, they can email me at votedavis2020@gmail.com. Any questions that they have throughout the week. We'll talk about the things that the PSC, the Public Service Commission, the things that they regulate, so like the pipelines, because that's kind of big in the news right now. Things like that, the ride share, because I believe it's Uber is testing a new program where they set kind of a base price, and then the drivers can scale it from there on how much they want to actually charge per ride.
Yeah, let's actually stop. Sorry to interrupt.
Oh, no.
But let's touch on that more. I guess we probably should have started with that. What all does PSC? Is that a cool abbreviation?
Yeah,
Does that make me cool? Is that what?
Yeah.
Okay. Sweet. What all does PSC oversee?
It regulates things like your rideshare programs, pipelines, the wireless 911 system, which is 2 of my actual campaign issues that I'm running on, as well as grain warehouse sales and your modular homes, stuff like that. Regulates things like that. Broadband.
Modular homes meaning what?
Like new construction modular homes.
Okay.
So kind of like the like celebrity homes, I believe.
Got it.
Are those, and then broadband. So broadband access, which is my 3rd issue for my campaign. I'm running on the wireless 911 system, the broadband service statewide, not just for Douglas County.
You mentioned though in there a little bit briefly what your 3 goals you said that you're running on, essentially.
Yep.
Your 3 goals if you do get elected that you want to fix certain areas.
Yep.
Elaborate on those, please, for everyone.
The 3 issues of my campaign this go around is the wireless 911 system, as well as pipelines and broadband access for not just Douglas County, but the entire state of Nebraska.
Got it. Well, that's foreign language to me, so let's break and for everyone else probably. So let's break those down. So the first one.
One of my
Whichever one
big
you wanna talk
ones is the broadband access, because as we all can relate, the cellular service is something that we can we all use. It's part of our everyday life. Broadband access gives people statewide access to faster internet service and stuff like that. So growing up in rural Nebraska, I understand the issues of having access to proper internet systems and stuff like that. So
It's not just cell towers then. It's also you're talking
there's
about the actual
hotspots
cables,
and stuff like that. Yep.
Okay.
They're getting more out of the copper, but yeah, the fiber wire and stuff like that.
The wire. Okay. So would you be working with like Cox and
Yep.
CenturyLink? Then? Okay.
Yep. Cox, CenturyLink, all the big
Now-
telephone companies or telecommunication companies.
Got it. No, that's statewide though. You said.
Yep.
But you're only District 2.
I
so
cover District 2, but I'll be working with the rest of the commissioners on
Okay.
those issues.
Got it.
I'm already talking with some of the companies such as like Cox and Windstream and stuff like that, just to kind of figure out what the issues that they're having. That way when I get elected in November, I can already know what's going on. So
I love the confidence. I do. I admire that.
yep, there's no room for error.
You're a very
so-
competitive guy. I know.
Yes.
Well, I mean, you totally revamped Granite City's whole marketing strategy. I know, but unfortunately, it just wasn't enough, obviously. But we won't go too far into that. So, telecommunication and broadband access statewide, pipelines. You said.
Yep.
So, what are your objectives and goals for that?
I'm a big supporter of the pipeline industry because of the big job creations it has.
Okay.
Because I'm all about job creations and building the economy and stuff like that. So I support the pipelines for the job creations, the tax revenue that it brings in. It brings in millions of dollars in tax revenue from or for the local cities that they go through, the local areas that they go through, as well as if you want to compare it to the green industry and the people that are, that want to go green and all that stuff.
Sure.
The pipelines are actually the cleanest and the quickest way to get
Really?
things through. Because if you think about it, if you're going to do oil, if you're going to ship it, the cost, if there's an oil spill there,
Sure.
it's outrageous. Plus all of the marine life, it's going to affect.
Right.
Yeah, if
people
you,
eat a lot of fish.
exactly. Rail cars.
Mhm.
If you think about that, if one of those go, that
Collapse.
entire tank, and you're not going to have one, you're going to have multiple tanks that are going to
Flip
topple
over or
over.
whatever. Uh-huh.
Exactly. And then of course, if you want to go truck, you have
Car
the
accidents.
exhaust,
Yeah,
car
everything,
accidents. There's no way to transfer these materials 100% without any cause of issue. So if you think about all of the aspects of each way that you would transfer
Right.
these or not chemicals, but liquids. So you have your oil, your gases, your waters, and all that stuff.
Natural resources.
Exactly.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
The different ways to transport it, a pipeline is the way that makes sense the most. It's the easiest way
Huh.
to regulate it, to be able to keep an eye on it. Yes, you're going to have spills,
Always.
but you're going to have accidents. You're going to have oil spills everywhere. It's just part of it. There's no way to 100% guarantee that there's no accident.
What would the spills? How could the spills happen with a pipeline? Like they get punctured?
Leaks,
Sure.
stuff like that.
Okay.
Yeah, just leaks. Like there was one up in, I believe it was North Dakota, where there was like 380,000 gallons of oil that leaked out
What?
before they were able to stop it. Myself, I
That's
would
so
question
much.
how that wasn't caught way beforehand.
I would too, yeah.
I haven't really looked into it that much yet.
Sure.
Because I'm curious exactly how did that not
Right.
get caught.
Because we want to learn from
There's-
past mistakes, even if they aren't our mistakes, obviously.
Exactly, because then you're able to stop them along the way. And the way technology is today, I don't understand why something like that wasn't recognized.
Sure.
Was it getting the equipment there? Was it
Yeah, I have
somebody
no
just
idea.
not paying attention? We need to figure that out so that we don't have that happen again in the future.
Right.
Because a lot of these pipelines go through state parks and stuff like that. So, you know,
and that's why
what-
people don't like them.
Exactly,
Right.
that's the big issue they're having.
Wasn't there another issue with it going through like Native American territory somewhere? Where
Yeah,
was that?
that was, I believe that was just a few years ago.
Uh-huh.
They,
Yeah, I thought. I remember that pretty recently.
Yeah, they were afraid, I believe, that if there's a leak, it was going to go into the aquifer and stuff like that, if I remember correctly.
Okay.
Which, I mean, is a valid thing to worry about.
Sure.
Again, that's people's livelihood there. But between then and now, technology has gone so much further, expanded, that, in my opinion, we should be able to detect those leaks before they happen.
Right.
In my
You
opinion.
also mentioned something that is a pressing issue for everywhere, of course, but also especially our state, tax revenue.
Yes.
So, like you said, it creates jobs, it creates taxes for the communities that the pipe goes through. That could be, I guess that's me just being a natural salesman, that I think, well, that could be a good sales pitch in, a pro pipeline initiative.
Yep.
So pipeline, broadband, and then you said 911
Yep.
emergency services?
Yep, the wireless 911 system that they were, over the last couple of years, they've been voting on to try to expand the service across the state.
Now, if I remember correctly, sorry to cut you off,
No.
I think you had said you were even impacted personally, or someone you know was impacted personally by
yes.
something in regards to this.
Growing up, again, I grew up in rural Nebraska, where back when I lived out in the middle of a cornfield outside of Lexington, they didn't have road numbers like they do now.
Right.
So a lot of times it was easier to give the emergency team markers along the way on how to get to where you're at.
Sure.
So response time was really slow. So I've experienced that working at Granite City here in Omaha. Just response times getting to the restaurant, and we had units just not that far around from us. So the response time, them getting to the restaurant when there's an emergency, sometimes took a little bit longer than it should when they're just down the street.
Yeah.
And nothing against them, it's the system that we have. Lincoln just recently passed a $2.3 million program where they're updating the dispatch system.
So emergency response times. So
Yes.
you said they're obviously slower in rural parts of
Yeah.
the state, but also you said Lincoln is trying to up theirs, and you said even Omaha, the response time wasn't adequate in your opinion.
Yes.
So what? Touch
And
on
again, that's
some of the
not
things.
due to anything that's their fault. It's
The system's
just how the
behind.
systems exactly.
Okay, and so for someone that knows nothing about the systems behind, I just know
It's just
The
it's
guy.
outdated.
Okay.
So they're working on the next.
floppy disk outdated or
Pretty
like
much,
CDs.
yep.
Okay.
They might be in the CDs at
Okay.
this point. It's because you got find somebody.
Sure.
Floppy disk, it's a little bit harder to find.
A little bit.
But no, Lincoln passed the $2.3 million project where they're updating their dispatch system so that the new system will be able to find the closest unit to wherever the emergency's at. Where right now I believe the dispatcher has to find the nearest unit due to tower pings, if I read the article correctly. Now the system will help be able to find the closest unit and send them off. So where my issue at the restaurant could have been them getting a hold of the closest unit, now the system will just take care of that for them.
Gotcha.
If I'm reading the reports correctly. I mean,
There's so much.
I've only just found out about it, so.
There's so much that goes into Public Service Commission.
Yes.
I mean, you even mentioned ride shares.
Yeah.
So, like, if you get into office, you would be surely not talking to Uber, like, directly? Like, how does that conversation work?
I'm guessing that they would be working because I haven't done it yet.
Mhm.
So I'm guessing it would be just like as if you're running a business of any type, where you reach out to their
Delegation,
and
whichever person.
then take care of the third. I call him the middleman.
Yeah.
That relays the message from the conversation that you have.
Mhm.